Luke here for SimBoxx. Delighted this evening to be joined by Robbie Davies Jr. Robbie, how are we doing?
I'm good, thanks. You okay?
Yeah, all good. Thanks. Thanks for your time this evening. So we'll get straight into it, Robbie. We had the announcement recently. I think it's been in the works for a while. You weren't allowed to say too much, but you'll be taking on Liam Paro in Liverpool. It's a big fight. It's a big opportunity. How excited are you to get back in the ring and get cracking in 2023?
Yeah, there was talks about it quite a bit ago, and like I was saying, couldn't say too much. Didn't know if it was going to happen or not. Then we finally come to a deal, got it over the line, and I'm just made up. It landed in Liverpool. Couldn't ask for anything better, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with Liam Paro, you mentioned that something was in the works previously. You couldn't say too much. He, of course, had that viral knockout of Brock Jarvis on the Matchroom card in Australia. Was this a fight that was a potential fight on the back of that win, or was that something that was in the works prior to that as well? Was your name in that kind of mix with Eddie and with Matchroom and getting
No,
those?
no, there'd been no talks of Paro coming over here before that win, and then he got that big win, got like a bit of started making a bit of noise, and then obviously Matchroom came to us and said, what do you think about this fight? Obviously, with me, I'll fight anyone. So I was a bit like, if it has some purpose behind the fight, then I'll take it. They said to me like, listen, he's got a good rank and he'll get you right in the back in the mix if you win this one. I was like, that's the fight for me then. Just seal the deal.
Yeah, so as we say with Liam Paro, he had that viral knockout, or the knockout that went viral, if you like, of Brett Jarvis. It was in the first round. It's quite a stunning knockout. What did you make of that, Robert? Have you went back and there's not too much you can take from that performance, but have you sat down and watched it back with Shane?
It was just one of them. It was Brock come into the fight cold, in my opinion, and got caught too early. Couldn't make much of it. Couldn't say like how it was going to go or anything like that. They would just look like they were figuring each other out. He threw a one bomb and it landed, and that was it.
Have you looked at Liam Paro's career up until now? Like you say, he wasn't really on the radar, and he's kind of broke onto the scene. Have you kind of looked back over his career? Are you want to do that, Robbie? You want to go back and look at fighters' previous fights ahead of fighting them?
Yeah, yeah. Like I know his career now, inside out, upside down, and back to front. I know everyone he's fought. I know everyone who he's fought, who they've fought. I'm obsessed with it. So not just with like my opponents. I'm like that with boxing in general. Like, so I normally know a lot about anyone that's my weight, especially. So I already knew of Liam, knew what he was doing over in Australia, things like that. I remember he got a fight out in America. I know he had a tough one out there. So yeah, it's not like that. I had an eye on him because I was thinking of a potential matchup. It was just you're always looking at all the fighters that are like coming through at the same time as you. They're all on the radar, all on the up, all winning. So it was just one of them. And then when the opportunity came, and I know he's built up a good ranking, I just snatched the hand off. I was like, I want that fight no matter what.
So it begs the question, Robbie. What do you make of him? I'm going to put you on the spot there. Tell us what you can't tell us too much about what he does wrong because that's what you're going to try and capitalize on. But what have you seen that he does well?
Do you know what he's saying? He doesn't do anything I haven't seen before, but he's a good boxer. Do you know what I mean? Like that's probably the best way to say it. Like he's a good boxer. He does everything good. There's nothing like I look at and think like, oh, he's terrible at that. There's a few things that obviously my team have looked at and they want me to work going into the fight. And as you know, like Shane's a master for tactics and things like that. So we'll be coming into to do a job.
So obviously you can't look past Liam Paro, but in your mind you're going in there to get the victory, lead on to bigger and better things. I think he holds the WBO global title, which is we all know too many belts in boxing, Robbie, but that does
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
ranking with the WBO. So is this a fast track to a world title shot? We've seen him fragment since the Josh Taylor situation, which we'll touch on later, but they all became vacant and Regis Prograis went and picked up a world title and other guys are picking up these vacant belts. So is getting a win over Liam Paro, is that a fast track to a world title in your eyes?
Like getting a win over Liam, it puts me right in the mix, especially for the WBO title. I've been knocking on door for someone like the winner of Taylor and Catterall or along them lines, or my next one will be like a final eliminator to get in the mix. So this is like a fast track, like you're saying, to get me right back in the mix.
Robbie, how do you approach this fight in your mind? How do you think it's going to be perceived as well by the public with Liam Paro's coming over. He's not going to be very well known to Joe public in the UK. Boxing fans are going to know him, of course. You've got home advantage. Do you look at this? Who would you make favourite, if you like? Obviously, you're going to back yourself, but if you was a bookmaker, who would you have down as the favourite?
Like I imagine if it was anywhere else, the bookies would have had him like a decent favourite going into this fight. But I think because of it's in Liverpool, I'm on a good run at the moment against like good opposition. I think it'll be close. I do. I don't know. I think he could be slight favourite because you got to remember he's unbeaten and I'm not. But as you know, in this game, it's numbers mean nothing. And if you look at across the board of the opposition I've been in with, the titles I've won, the people's back gardens I've been to, things like that. It just like I'd have his record if I'd done it his way. He'd probably have my record if he'd done it my way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think with this card on the Callum Smith undercard, these are the two fights that stand out as a bit left field, if you like, with the undefeated guys coming over to the UK. He was yourself against Liam Paro and Jack Cullen taking on Diego Pacheco. I think they're very similar fights, if you like. You know, the two Matchroom's prospects from overseas coming over to take on two of our guys, pretty much in the backyard. I know Jack Cullen's from Bolton, but guys that with yourself that you've been in the trenches, you've been in them wars, and you know maybe Pacheco and Liam Parrott have not had those gut checks, if you like. You've been there, you've done that. You got the t-shirt, bloodstained t-shirt, and the same with Jack Cullen, really.
Yeah, I can't say too much about Jack and Pacheco. I haven't really looked too much into their fight, but like what you're saying about Liam, I think he has had a gut check before when he went out to America, and that was a tough fight for him. I think he got it on a split decision. He got put down, he got up. So I think he has had his gut checks, but I just don't think he's been in with anyone that is established as myself.
Yeah, of course, it does look to be a good fight, Robbie. Tell us about working with Shane McGuigan. I know you've been there for a few fights now. You're on a good run of form. Just how important is Shane McGuigan to Robbie Davies Jr. at this point of your career?
Yeah, definitely. Like obviously when the time came and I was looking for a new team and things like that, and the opportunity came up to train with Shane McGuigan, then when I went down there, obviously you've got to get that feel with someone even before the boxing. Like you got to be able to like bounce off each other, get a good feel for each other, and then we got on. And were similar age, and like we had similar, just like similar people. Really, we got on really well outside of the ring, and then when you start working with him and like he gives every individual fighter individual time all day, every day. Like we all have set times when we train, things like that. We don't train with each other. We all have one-on-ones with Shane. He doesn't train every fighter the same because every fighter has different attributes. What he knows work well with some fighters and don't work the best with others. And I just think like he can dissect like the smaller things to your game, like what I feel like some coaches would just let slip, where Shane will go to detail on the slightest of things and he'll make it repetitive until you get it right. And then obviously you start seeing it in fights and sparring and things like that. And then before you know it, it's just second nature. And I just think like this stage of my career, it's like there can't be no backward steps. And I just think being with someone like Shane is beneficial.
You mentioned there that he kind of dissects and breaks down the little things that build up into a big thing on fight night, if you like. Is there any one particular thing, Robbie, that you could put your finger on and go, you know what, that's completely different now as to when I first started training with Shane McGuigan? Is there any, is it footwork maybe? Is it something out of the ring?
It was just more like like as you've seen, like over the years, like I've had some absolute wars, but some of them times when I've had them absolute wars, I could have just got to me boxing and probably jabbed a few people's heads off and moved on to bigger and better things. But I'd let the occasion get to me and stuff like that. Like with Shane, he knows how to like keep you calm. He knows when you need to turn it on. He knows when you need to go into the trenches. He knows when you need to box. And because I've got that like belief in what he knows. Like sometimes in the past, like when I was with other coaches and stuff like that, I used to like think I know better. And when you've got someone with Shane, like who's been there, done it, wore the t-shirt, like you respect his decisions more in your corner, especially if he tells you need to do something. You just go with it. And I just think like these sort of fights, what I'm getting into now, like I heard Adrian Broner doing an interview the other day, and he was saying like when you get to that top tier, like everyone can fight. You need a coach in your corner that can to give you that extra 1%. Them tactics, what you need going into the fight, and like that's 100% right. And that 1% could be the difference at this level.
Yeah, absolutely. Robbie, I'm going to go off on a bit of a sidestep here. We'll come back to the interview in a second. You mentioned there about some of the wars that you've been in, and the first one, of course, that springs to mind, Lewis Ritson. What a great fight that was. He's recently announced a fight with Ohara Davies. Now that's in your weight class. You say that you keep an eye on the weight class that you're involved in. What do you make of that fight? Again, just going off on one a little bit. We'll come back to the interview. But what do you make of Lewis Ritson against Ohara Davies?
Well, obviously in the past, if you've ever followed it, like me and Ohara have never got on. He said some bad things about me city. He said some bad things about me dad when he was dying. So, like it's a strong word to say, but I fucking hate him. Like I can't talk about him without like the hairs on my neck standing up. So like I will 100% be supporting Lewis in that fight. Like I couldn't think of anything worse. So like I hope Lewis sets himself up for bigger things and just absolutely steamrolls him.
So you mentioned there with Shane in your corner that you've got someone there that you can listen to, and that maybe is a cuter voice in your ear and stopping you going off on one yourself, and you'd look at fights differently. You're not going to make excuses for fights, and it was razor close with Lewis Ritson. But do you believe that if you had Shane McGuigan in the corner that night, the result would have been that 1% different? That would have been a victory because it was, as I say, razor close with Lewis.
Yeah, it was that was one of them fights. It was whatever you like. Like you either had my work rate outworking him, or you wanted his eye-catching shots where that one big left hook might win in the round, but for the rest of the round I'd be on top. Do you know what I mean? So it was one of them, but obviously it's in the past now. You'll never know when you're with another coach or whatever. But sometimes when you just look back on things and you think I could have done things differently, like they're the sort of fights I could have made a lot easier for myself. But like you say, it's all woulda, shoulda, coulda. Do you know what I mean? It's in the past now. Like if me and Lewis keep winning, you never know. One day we could do it again, maybe.
Is it a surprise to you, Robbie, that that fight's not been run back already? I know you guys have took on big fights in the meantime, but given that it was such a great fight, it was a fight of the year for some people. I think I might have even had it down as my fight of the year. Is it a surprise to you that it's not happened already? Given in
Yeah, I think
one year it is matches all the time.
if we'd have both stayed with the same promotion, even with wins or losses, I think it would have came back up again. But I think because obviously Lewis went his own way, done his own thing. He's had an eliminator, he's been beat, he's got back on the horse, he's winning again. Same like myself. I got beat in a fight that no one thought I'd lose, and then got myself back on the horse with Shane, stuff like that. Like these are like if we were both with the same promotion company, like them sort of fights could have happened because even say there was like no big fights on the line for like me with Paro or him with Ohara, it like makes sense for us to fight again. Do you know what I mean? But it's all one of them now. He's with different promotional companies, so can't really see it happening anytime soon. But never say never.
Of course, Robbie, you're on a good run of form since that setback to Venezuela. 3 wins from 3 fights, 2 stoppages as well, looking really impressive. But the last fight came in May, so you just fill us in a little bit on the gap away from the ring. I think it'll be about 10 months by the time the fight night runs around.
Yeah. Well, there was talk of me fighting in like October, November, and then I think basically what it just wasn't the right type of fight. Like not on my behalf. I think like because you know what it's like in boxing. You win, your next one's a better one. You win, your next one's a better one. And like it was either a stagnating fight at like same sort of level. Even though my last opponent was like world title, being in with world champions and stuff like that. My one before that was world title challenger, but you're still always looking for that step up. And then if I would have come back down a level or like for like someone British level, you've got more risk in them sort of fights than being in the big fights sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't get up for them or whatever reason. I know it's hard to say like you should all get up for any fight at this level, but I'm just saying like in a figure of speech, sometimes that's what it's like. And Like if Eddie hadn't come to me with a big fight like this, like I probably would have been absolutely devastated. I'd have been gutted. Like if it was just like a normal Eastern European fight or something like that, I'd have been a bit gutted. But when this one got put on the table and like everything that come with it, and if you win, the opportunities that are on the back of it, then it made sense for me. I thought, you know what? Well, it's been worth the wait, and I'm not like someone that's been waiting on the couch getting fat. Like I've been in the gym. Do you know what I mean? I had Christmas off and got straight back in the gym. Like for me, that is the only hard part because now I've got like a little girl and things like that, and I train so far away from home, and like I've spent like 6 months, 7 months back and forth from London. Do you know what I mean? And like I think I'm fighting, then I'm not. I think I'm fighting, then I'm not. Do you know what I mean? I've had about 3 camps back to back, but finally I've only just got a fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But like once we got it sealed, like that, I've been happy since.
Robbie, we've seen what the Echo Arena, the M&S Bank Arena, whatever they call it now. It's always the Echo Arena. It's the same as Manchester. They try calling it the
yeah. It'll always be the Echo. Yeah,
that's it. We still call it the Manchester Arena the MEN. But what's we know as British boxing fans how special of a venue that is, and you Scousers love to make a racket. Just what can Liam Paro expect on fight night? It's bustling with Scousers on the card, Callum Smith headlining, yourself in a war. What is Liam Paro going to expect, or what can he expect from the fans and the atmosphere that he's going to be greeted by on the night?
You know what? I wouldn't say the Liverpool fans did like discredit him or anything like that. I think they might be there might be a little lack of knowledge of knowing how good he is or something like that. But if he's never been in like an arena that gets rowdy, like he'll feel it in there because it is a rowdy atmosphere. It'll be electric in there on the night.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned before about working with Shane McGuigan, and we know that you've got a big stable of fighters at McGuigan's, but he's able to dissect his time between everybody, make sure they get the one-to-one that you guys need. But how exciting and how much of a how much does it improve you to be around a winning stable, a successful stable, and a happy stable? You got Daniel Dubois, the Dazn brothers, Ellie Scottney. I don't want to miss anybody out. You'll probably pick up on some that I've missed out, but. Yeah. How much inspiration, I think is the word I was looking for, do you take from being as part of such a great team?
Yeah, that's it. Like when you're in the type of gym, it's like a winning mentality and everyone's bouncing off each other. Everyone's like giving each other that little extra nudge. When you're having them days and you're feeling tired, you've got someone to bounce off to drag you through it. And like it's good company to be in. Do you know what I mean? Really are a great stable of fighters, and everyone's got their own ambition. They're all working towards their own goals. We're all at different stages of our career, but I feel like the public and boxing fans are always watching our gym because everyone's always doing well. Like you've got myself now that could break into a world title fight. Then you've got like Chris Smith could be on the verge of fighting for a world title. You've got Ellie Scottney could be on the verge of fighting for a world title. You've got Daniel Dubois, a fringe world champion. You've got Caroline and Adam and Hassan. Them three could be the next generation that carry the sport of boxing. So the gym is absolutely bouncing, but for someone like Shane, he's got to keep on top of all that.
Yeah,
because they're not the type of gym that where you just leave someone on the wayside. Like everyone needs that time. Everyone needs to feel like they're ready to go at any time, and I feel like that's what the gym's like.
Absolutely. Of course, it's good and important to have fun along the way. Now, for any of our viewers that have not seen it, you'll have to check out Robbie's social media to catch up with what I'm about to say. But Robbie, what's this whole argument about a chipper and a Chinese? where did that argument come
from? Right. So me and like so me and Ellie walking home from the gym. I can't remember how the conversation came up, but by man in Liverpool, if someone says to me, do you want to, like, for example, if I say to my missus on the weekend, shall we get a chippy? We're thinking salt and pepper chicken, fried rice, carton of curry, shumais, spring rolls. If someone says to her, do you want a chippy? She thinks fish and chips, chips and a sausage. And I'm like, no, because by mine, like we sell like Chinese food in a chippy. So it is called a chippy. So we started this debate. I'm not messing. I've had more interaction on my Twitter over this chippy. It's still going now over this chippy scenario than I do off my boxing. God's honest truth. Like, where are you from?
Manchester.
So if someone says to you, do you want a chippy? I know you're up north, but you don't. I'm not sure. Do you automatically think fish and chips, or do you think like anything really, like Chinese restauranty food? Like if you're ordering a chippy,
Robbie, I'll be honest, I don't know whether what I got on the wrong side of you or the wrong side of Ella, but, but I'll be honest, kind of, this is why I found it so funny, because I'm right in the middle of both mindsets. Like I do think it's in the moment. I think chippy. I think, oh, are we Chinese chippy or are we going chippy English chippy?
Yeah,
So
see, like maybe we should say Chinese chippy, but you just say chippy for quickness. Do you know what I mean? But I don't even think in Liverpool, I don't even think there is just like a fish and chip bar. I don't even think they do them anymore because there's the opposition had just crushed them because all the others do everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So away from that argument, we'll let that social media settle that. Adam Azim, gym mate of yours, he's in a big fight this weekend. Highly touted prospect, spectacular in the ring, the victory over Ryland Charlton. Just how special is Adam Azim to you, Robbie? Same weight class, so you're going to be sparring and training together and whatnot. He's, as I say, a prospect. He's coming through the ranks, smashing through the ranks. Just how special is Adam Azim?
Don't worry, he's a talent. Like, and I know it's one of them where you think, oh, I'm from the same gym. Of course, I'm going to say that, but there isn't a person that comes to our gym, like whether they're sparring him or just in his presence when he's training, like he's I don't know what it is, but he's just got it. You know what I mean? He just gets boxing. Like he's got the speed, he's powerful, he's got a good ring IQ. He can do it all. Do you know what I mean? And at such a young age, like you don't normally see it. Do you know what I mean? Like even though I'm the experienced one, if I wanted to ask him about something, he'd give his opinion because you know it'd be good because he knows the game. Like he like even this level now. I know this is a good fight for him on the weekends, but it will be a high level of opposition before you'd even see him go through the gears because he's that good.
Yeah, we look forward to the journey. One fight that's starting to get a bit of traction, and it's not one for now, maybe a couple of years down the line, but Adam Azim and Dalton Smith, that's a tantalising prospect, Robbie.
Yeah, like no Dalton for a few years, like he's a great lad, and he's another very special fighter coming through, young lad. I think them two will be the two that will be carrying the sport in the light welterweight division. But saying that, like Adam's a big frame lad, he could go up the weight in a few years, so it might be one where they just miss each other because of the size and weights and things.
Yeah, we can cross our fingers and hope. Robbie, just before we finish, I want to get your opinion on a few things. At the top of the 140-pound division, it seems to be a bit murky, a bit messy at the minute. We've got Josh Taylor and Jack Cattrall that, waiting a long time to get that rematch on. Then it was announced, and then Josh Taylor unfortunately suffers an injury. That fight's off. If you put yourself in the shoes of Jack Cattrall after that first fight, everyone has their opinion on how that fight went. And then waiting so long for the rematch, and then the rematch falling through. Put yourself in Jack Cattrall's shoes. What are you thinking at the minute, Robbie?
If I was Jack now, like I was one of the people that heavily thought Jack won, but also you can't just stand still waiting for someone. Like he's got to get on with his own career. So I've just seen announced before that he's going to fight at the end of March. So I think that's the right thing to do. I think he's just got to get back on the horse. If the fight comes up with Josh, great, he's up for it. But if it doesn't, work his way back towards world titles of his own.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Regis Prograis. Again, Robbie, I don't know how much you keep up with social media. We know it's all social media, so you don't know what to believe and what you can believe and whatnot. But Regis Prograis seems to be having difficulty getting a big fight. And it's all coming down to purse splits and what fighters are making. As boxing fans, we don't want to hear that. I know you guys are all going to want to get paid and get as much money as you can. But there's also the old school boxing fan, if you like, inside everyone that wants people to chase glory and belts and opportunity. And it seems Teofimo Lopez and Ramirez I turned down the opportunity to fight Regis Prograis because of the purse split, which isn't that the champion's advantage for earning the world title, and you kind of take less to get more if you get the victory?
Yeah, I think because they're already former world champions, they've already been there and done it. They don't like have the hunger to be that world champion right now, especially when they're making a lot of money. Like Jose Ramirez can sell out stadiums in his hometown, so he's probably thinking, I'm not selling out this stadium or this arena where you get 75% because you're the champion or whatnot. So you'd have an argument for both of them. Like from a standpoint from like someone like myself, who's never reached the highest level, like I'd be like, fine, you take the 70% or whatever, you deserve it, you're the champion. I'll come to your backyard, blah blah blah. But someone like Ramirez and who's the other one you said? Sorry,
Teofimo Lopez.
Teofimo Lopez. Well, I don't even think Lopez sells as well as Ramirez, but because they've already won their world titles and things, they're thinking like, I'm not selling myself short just for this one fight when a world title will come my way eventually.
Yeah, good way of putting it there, Robbie. It's interesting to hear. Just to close off, Robbie, what can we expect come fight night?
The best version of me. Like I am going to be ready to rock and roll on fight night.
It's going to be an exciting night. It's going to be an exciting fight. I wish you the best of luck, Robbie. Thanks for the time this evening, and I wish you all the best for the fight.
Appreciate it. Nice one.